We are back in the building. We are back in the building. Once again, if this is your first time, buckle up. If you're coming back every week, thank you for coming back. Team No Excuses presents the Ray Lewis Show. I am super excited to be here today. I just got off this bike ride that forever changed my life because I really think I'm finding a path to cycling, everyone. I really think I finally got it figured out, and I'm really excited about it. But I'm really more excited about my guests. I've seen a lot of football players in my lifetime. I've seen a lot of athletes in my lifetime. I've played against some great quarterbacks in my lifetime. But this next guest that I'm about to bring on probably is, arguably the most dynamic quarterback I've probably ever seen and witnessed with a football in his hand. And he inspired me. And that's why I want him on this show, because he inspired me, man. When I used to watch him as a kid, I used to always say, man, you can't let him out of this pocket. It can get scary very quickly. The one and only, the man himself, the legend, the great Michael Vick. Man, Vick, I need to talk to you. How you doing, baby?
Hey, first and foremost, man, just the lineage of people of guests that you done had on the show, and I get to align myself with them, makes this so worth it, man. So thanks for having me on, bro, and I look forward to spending the next hour or so with you for sure. I appreciate the kind words too.
Bro, look at here. The truth is the truth. And you told me a story the other day, so let's jump right into this. You told me a story the other day.
Well, don't get into our stories, Ray. We got stories for days. A couple of them I'm gonna share throughout this segment, but yeah, it's all good.
Yeah. You told me about you wasn't playing quarterback first. I want to know about that story. How did Michael Vick first start playing quarterback? When did that moment happen?
So growing up in the neighborhood, everybody touched the football. You know how it is. At some point, you're going to end up playing quarterback for both teams, or for your team. You always touch the ball. So I got that experience just in that space. But when it came to playing organized football, I was positioned at running back. And running back was the position I wanted to play because I felt like it was probably the easiest so I could do my thing, get the ball, use my vision, run in between the tackles, burst of speed, whatever comes after that. It is what it is. And I love that little, part of the game that was so simplified that I could perfect it. So 3 years in Pop Warner football, and we having some good years. We won a couple of championships, and this one particular year, and I it touched me when I tell this story because a guy who I was very close to, Abdullah McLean, was the quarterback for all those years. And so I'm looking forward to him coming back. I'm looking forward to really like three-peating. And he never showed up. So a week go by, we start out, summer training, and it's just kind of like calisthenics the first week. But I remember just watching the gate at the Boys and Girls Club, waiting for Abdullah to bend the corner and come through the gate, because that's what he usually do. If he came a couple of days late some seasons, in the beginning of the season, day 3 he'd show up, day 4, day 1. You just never know what you was going to get. He never showed up. And about a week and a half go by, he still not there. Finally, my coach looked around and he was like, I need a quarterback. And I looked at my teammates, and it was 13 of us. And players 12 and 13 was a dude named Little T and Little Mac. And I'm like, they're never going to touch the field. We're never going to win games with them. They won't matter. Right. So I just just gradually put my hand up, like, I'll do it. But I did it for the sake of the team.
Yeah.
Won the championship, had a good year. The next year, my coach was like, you playing quarterback. And the next year, going to junior varsity, my high school coach, Coach Rim, was like, you playing quarterback. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm playing a position that in that time and today's time, I would have looked at it different. But back then I was like, man, this kind of ruined my chances of playing in the National Football League because
Wow.
black quarterbacks don't play in the National Football League. But I took one for the team, and I just didn't know what was ahead of me.
Yeah. Oh, okay, wait a minute. So, so you raise your hands.
Like I knew you liked that story when I told it the other night.
I did like the story because look, everybody sees the glamour, right? Everybody sees the great Michael Vick, right? And all of the plays you did. But it's interesting, and I always say this, right? Sometimes God ushers you into your blessing, right? Sometimes you don't find it, right? He ushers you into it.
Right.
You were ushered into this one, right? Because even when God ushers you, Vic, what happened with you is you was willing. You was willing to raise your hand.
It was a purpose.
It was a purpose. A lot of people ain't willing to raise their hand. And look now what that one hand raise, what that one raising of the hand done, right?
You got me on your show.
Every time I'm gonna help.
Legend on legend, baby.
Legend on legend. I'm gonna help the people out. Me and Michael Vick, we played each other one time. Well, yeah, one real time.
Yep.
And we never played again. So I'm gonna let Michael Vick tell the story. Michael Vick has this video thing he does online. And somebody called me and said, "Man, you got to look at this thing that Vick talking about, man. He said you the player that he didn't want to play." So I had to go check it out, right? I was like, "What you talking about, man?" So I went on there. So I'm gonna let you explain to the people, what do you mean? Why am I?
Appreciate it, Ray. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Hey, I told you because I'm not afraid to show my emotions to some of my dearest friends.
Right.
I'm not. And I told you the other day, Jerry Rice, Chris Carter. I said it in front of a bunch of people.
Yeah.
And it was the right time. But I tell you all the time, look, and I'm telling the world, everybody who tuned in on your podcast, the only person that I was afraid to play against in all my years of football, Pop Warner High School. There might have been a couple guys in high school that I would never reveal.
Right.
You know, but this one right here, people can understand.
Yeah.
Ray, you was the only player that I feared. Like I feared you tackling me. I feared you chasing me down and running me down out of bounds, and just the look. You know, I never forget we was playing y'all 2003 preseason, and me and you was talking before the game, and I was just trying to get some information. How long you gonna play? And he was like, as long as you gonna play. I was like, oh, really? You gonna tell my coach? You gonna tell my coach? Hey, coach, Ray say hey, he gonna play as long as I play. And I was distraught, bro. When I say I was, and then I go out there and I break my ankle in that game, and it wasn't you. It was the pursuit. It was a hot pursuit. It was the guys who was just a really good defense that year. But, man, I'm fortunate that I didn't have to face you as many times as you played. We played each other because you was always out or I was out.
Yeah.
And that it worked out for both of us, right?
Yeah, it did work out. And so
it worked out for me. It worked out for me.
It worked out for you. So you got this one hit on me that you started to tell the other day. We playing in Philly. I pick up a fumble, and I think I'm gone. I think I'm going to the crib.
You knew you was about to take it to the house. Oh my God! I wish you could have seen your face. You knew you had a touchdown, Ray. And I'm like, oh, not today, not today. You know, I know Ray is. We both older. You know, this is a different day and time. But I'm about to show him that I can tackle. And I grabbed you, Ray, and I slammed you so hard. You ain't feel none of it. You got up celebrating because you picked up a fumble. It was like, for me, it was all for naught. For you, it was like, man, this is what I do. It was one of those moments. It was pretty cool. So I got you one time, Ray. I think I got a total of maybe like 27 tackles in my career.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of them was you.
One of them was me. Your favorite player when you got me and you had another rivalry, Virginia Tech and Miami.
Yep.
It's the most heated rivalry in college football for us, for me and you. Who was that player that you wanted to be coming out of college when you saw the quarterback position? Who is that player that you saw to say that's what I want to do?
I wanted to be Donovan McNabb.
Wow.
Like, and I think you faced. No, I don't think you faced Donovan in college.
Yeah,
Yeah. Donovan was one of the best college football players that ever.
Yeah.
I mean, what he did for Syracuse, was sublime. But just his game, and I watched Donovan close because he could pass the football and he could run it, and he could do both of them just as good as anybody in the country. And I'm like, if he can take that skill set to the professional ranks, I think he'll have some success. But number one, somebody got to draft him and give him a chance. So I'm gonna watch this situation close and see if Donovan get drafted, because we got the same style of play. I like his game. This is what I want to do. I want to duplicate his skill set, and if he make it, I got a chance at making it. So that gave me hope. And then Andy Reid drafted him, and
So
open up doors.
Okay, so we go from there. Michael Vick is drafted to the Atlanta Falcons. Give me, what was the first thing that you thought the moment you hear ATL? Because I'm gonna tell you the first thing I thought the moment I hit Baltimore. I didn't know.
As soon as I touched down, I instantly started to think about what needed to happen in the next 5 years. So I created like a 3-year plan in my mind. Like, in 3 years, we should be playing in the playoffs and having some type of success, because I'm drafted here number one for a reason, and these expectations are going to be high. And I never experienced that before. Didn't know what it was like to be a professional quarterback. Didn't know what the expectations were, even though I knew just by being a quarterback in college that, you're held to a higher standard. And I'm like, damn, now it's times 10. I'm getting paid a lot of money. This is something I know I want to do for the next 15 years. How can I get through year one? How can I get through year two? And obviously, you got to live the days out, Ray. But instant success was on my mind. Like, we got to win. I got to find a way to make this city believe in Atlanta Falcons to fill up these stands.
Which you did. And all of these plays that you made, we had a rule on the board. This is for everybody who needs to know how difficult it was to face Michael Vick. We had a rule: do not let him destroy your day. If we let you out of the pocket, the day was going to be really bad. Like how do you stop this kid, right? And this is why I asked you about the success on what you were looking for, because you was this flash, you was this lightning, bro, that people was like, where did this come from, right? Yeah, they had seen a couple of quarterbacks, but they had never seen about that type of speed, right? And so in all of that success, you've had one heck of a career, bro. I still watch your highlights to this day. I'm not lying. I was actually watching them last night. But give me one play out of your career that you remember the most. Is it the one I'm thinking about?
Well, a lot of people remember the run against Minnesota. And it's vivid in my mind because people constantly remind me. I was just trying to get the hell off the field that day. I was just trying to get up out of there. But when we talk about plays and a lot of them come in sequence, a lot of them come, weeks at a time. Sometimes it's so many of them that you like everything. Like if this was today's time in social media, now my highlights, I would like everything that I ever did that anybody else ever liked.
Right.
I know I'm gonna like it because they like it.
Right.
I just forget because I did it. But man, it was a move. We was playing Green Bay. We was playing Green Bay in the playoffs in 2002, and it was a busted play, and I scrambled, and they show it sometimes. They show it periodically. It don't get enough credit, but I cannot remember this guy's name, Kabaji Bihamili or something like that.
Yeah.
Pretty good defensive end. One of the best in the game. He was definitely top 5 in the league at the time.
Yeah, he's on American Ninja Warrior now.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he chased me towards the sideline, and I never forget I was on their sideline when he was chasing me, and some just told me to like stop. Just stop on the dime and just grab his shoulder pads and just try to sling him as far as you can out of bounds. And, you know, I predetermined it and it worked. And I slung him and I came back, you know, ball was still in play.
Yeah.
I didn't go out of bounds, but we was on the out of bounds line. Cut back against the grain, came back. I scanned the field for a second and it was snowing that day. So, you know, you see the flurries, but you know, everything is kind of like in slow motion. So now I'm planning my attack. Do I pass it? Do I run it? This is what I'm going through my head on every play of my career. Yeah. In the snapshot, I'm running. So I pull it down and I come through the line of scrimmage and, you know, guys still blocking, but it was one man to beat. And I gave him a move. I gave him something basic. It was, I mean, I'm talking about, it was super vanilla. And he fell for it. Boom, boom, boom. I was gone. And he hit the back of my heel. And I fell. But it was a cool play because what I did to the defensive end, but that move I put on the one last man to beat was the move. And even though he tackled me, the way the play all came together was like super smooth. And right then and there, I knew I could do what I just did for a long time. Might not be able to throw defenders, but the shake and bake was going to always be present.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Look, I think it was that one. I remember that one, but the one from Minnesota, what makes it so dynamic is just the way you split the entire defense.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I think that's what made, and then it's the end of the game. You know what I'm saying? Like,
the thing is, I wasn't even running hard.
What?
Intentionally, I didn't want to take off and run. You know, we was in a basic set and we had double comebacks on the outside and had the tight end on a post down the middle. And had our backs in the flat. So we was in just like a regular personnel, what we called it. And they played man coverage. And they played man coverage so much that game, like Dan Reeves always told me, if teams play you in man coverage, then they turning their back to you and you can take advantage of it. And I'm talking about pre-snap. I'm at the line pre-snap, like, here they go again, and man, why would they do this? If my guys cover, because I had Sean Jefferson and Brian Finner.
Mm-hmm.
Quality receivers, but they had no speed. Yeah. And if I sat on this show and said they had a little bit of speed, they'll text my phone and be like, bro, you lying. Straight up. So they was just quality receivers, good hands, you know, relied on their hip movement and other things to get open. But yeah, they got covered up. Actually, I ain't even give them a chance. Everybody back was turned. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna get the first down. It's overtime. I'm thinking, like, just get a first down. We inching closer towards the end zone. And by the time I got 10 yards down the field, they still had their backs turned. I'm like, let me get 10 more. Back still turned. I'm gonna get 10 more. Then, you know, after a while, it's like, man, look, I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna end it all. I'm going for the end zone. Two guys coming, and I split them. I just split them just with a burst of speed.
Yeah.
You know, so, man, all these plays was happening. It was just nostalgia. And it was just so great, like, just so graceful when it was happening. You know, when you go back and look at the film, that's when you realize what you really done.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you're actually doing it in the moment, you're just doing your job.
Yeah.
And just trying to, you know, make your teammates and your coaches happy. And man, it was just one of them days, man, where I got lucky. Thank God.
It's what made you special, right? I asked you something before this, right? When you think about how consistent your career was, when you think about how we had a rule, I don't know about everybody else, but Dan Reed said one of the greatest things he could ever said for a defense, we was never going to play you in man coverage, right? Because you had to have all eyes on you. Mm-hmm. Everybody's eyes need to be facing towards the quarterback.
Yes.
Michael Vick, you not play Michael Vick in man, right? That's just a bad day.
Yeah.
But when I started to see this, and you got to remember, I'm years ahead of you in the league. I'm like, man, this guy, he gets it. He really gets it. And I'm just telling you, bro, you started to change the game, man. What? And right when you started to do what you started to do, what was the goal? I tell you what my goal was, right? And then just to set you up. I met Junior Seau in 1997 at the Pro Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
And Junior Seau was my all-time favorite. And I told him this story about him not signing my jersey in 1994 because, you know, when they lost the Super Bowl to the 49ers, all this stuff. But the first thing I said to him, Vic, was, we got in the huddle. And I looked at Junior and I said, Junior, I promise you, there's no linebacker that can beat me to the football. And he looked at me and said, buddy, rest in peace. Yeah, you know, Junior. He was like, buddy. I said, Junior, I'm telling you, I have studied you. I've watched you. Who is that? Take McNabb out of it. You got in the league now. Who is that guy that you was like, okay, I need to be the best quarterback? Because that was my goal. My goal was simple, Vic. I made up my mind.
Steve McNabb.
Steve McNabb.
Rest in peace, Steve McNabb.
Wow.
Yeah, for sure.
When I tell you, a straight dog on the football field.
Yep.
Oh my goodness. And see, it's always interesting when you hear one of us say who inspired us. Yeah. Right? LT inspired me at a young age. Wilbur Marshall inspired me when I was 10 years old. But when I got in the league, it was Junior Seau. It was that guy. And when it comes to people not knowing Steve McNabb, rest in peace, you're right, rest in peace. It's amazing the people that we're talking about gone. But I tell you this, what you did with the quarterback position, I'm telling you, because me and McNabb was crazy. We had this conversation, bro, because I was asking him about all the quarterbacks, and he went down the line. You was his favorite if you didn't know that, right? So I'm telling you that
That's
now.
What's up.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what's up.
Yeah, bro, absolutely. So there's a moment that you're going through this wave and you're going through your career. What moment did you hit to where you say, I got to get better. I got to do more? What year was that? What year did that?
I think it was my fourth season when Greg Knapp and Jim Moore had came in and took over. Dan Reeves that got fired. And I was learning a new system, the West Coast system. And I had to learn it through and through. All the ins and outs. I'm talking about the verbiage from Montana. You know, Montana Young to Brent Favre. And what those guys had to learn and endure in that system in order to have success. So I was pretty much starting from ground zero.
Yeah.
After I learned the system for 3 years, and then it was like, I'm only in my fourth season. It's a lot of expectation this season. I felt like we needed to take it to another level. It was about that time. I got a new contract, what was in the works at the time. And it was a lot of expectation. So I knew it was expectations that I placed on myself. You know, one, just to be great, always striving to be great and making the guys around me better. And two, to financially secure myself. So that's what was most important.
Yeah.
You know, everything that happened in the interim, you know, that's all, that's house money. And so I'm looking at it like that. But at the start of that season, I'm like, I got to be different. I got to be extra special. I got to be better than everybody else in the league. And that's what my focus was. So 2004 was that year where I was like, I got to turn the page. I got to grow up. I got to make the guys around me better, offensively and defensively.
Absolutely. I do this thing on the show with my trainer. We call it championship mentality.
No doubt.
And this week, we talking about persistence. What does that mean to you? What does that word mean?
Persistence to me means just it's really about getting after it, man. And you know, I equate persistence to patience because you know while you being persistent, you obviously chasing something that you really want. You want to get something right, and you know that's chasing perfection. But you know, and chasing perfection, and you got to be persistent. But at the same time, you got to have patience while you're doing it. And you know, I think I learned that throughout the course of my life because, man, I mean, I was patient, you know, as a child wanting to get out of my circumstances where I grew up. You know, circumstances my mom and my dad was in, you know, mainly my mom, you know, I wanted to get to the league like now, You know what I'm saying? But I had to go through high school. I had to go through college.
Yeah.
You know, so I kept that hunger. That hunger was my persistence. Like, I'm gonna do whatever it takes. Remember, I mentioned time. Sometimes it takes time. It takes a lot of time. You know, to accomplish what you want to accomplish in anything. But you gotta keep hammering at it. Persistence is this. Oh, I failed. I'm gonna get right back up and try it again.
Absolutely.
I'm persistent. I'm gonna be patient in that moment. But to me, man, persistence is doing it over and over and over again, but at the same time being patient, waiting for your result. No doubt, Ray.
Championship mentality, baby.
Yeah. Hey, Ray, that's the only way I could come into a game and face a defense like the Baltimore Ravens. Thank God you was never out there, but to be able to stay in the moment and stay concentrated, and stay believing in myself and my teammates, and not worrying about a thing, trusting in the game plan, not worrying about if my right guard gonna make the tackle or if my left guard gonna miss a block. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, if my right guard if he gonna block, if my left tackle if he gonna hold up on his end. It's a trust level, you know, trust level on all the courts. So
it's truly a trust level, brother. Listen, man. Listen, bro. I can, like, we was together the last few days. I can be here for days with you because we got stories for days, man. But it's your essence, it's your greatness. And you said something the other day when we was together. This guy asked both of us. He said, "Do you guys wish you were still playing?" How did you respond?
I remember that. I told somebody what you said the other day. Your answer. We both had the same answer, and this is our answer to the world. No, we don't miss it at all. Look, I might miss
the locker room.
Yeah. Before practice, walkthroughs, after practice. I miss all that. I miss traveling.
Yeah.
I don't miss Sundays. I miss Sundays right up into kickoff. I miss it right up into kickoff. But I'll tell you this, though. This generation is playing now, and the generation is coming, man. I love watching these guys. I love watching them compete. The Dak Prescotts and the Justin Herberts and, you know, older guys, Aaron Rodgers, Matt Ryan. Man, like, yo, these dudes, like, it's just so fun to watch these dudes compete, man, every Sunday, Monday, and Thursday. And because we went through it, and because we know what it's about, and we know what it takes, and we know how hard it is when they step on the field. And so everybody, it might look easy, but we know from Monday to Sunday, we know what they're going through, physically, mentally, and emotionally. And that's the cool part about the game that we can take with us, man, and we can explain it to people as much as we want. We can't reenact that or really express how just living it out, man, really felt.
And I answered that question easily. I said I left everything I had on the field. That's it. I have no more. I ran my else to give. And that's it. I'm gonna throw three names at you. I want you to say the first word that comes to your mind. Patrick Mahomes.
Accurate.
Josh Allen.
Mobile.
Lamar Jackson.
Dynamic.
Kyler Murray.
Shifty.
This is from the great Michael Vick. And when you
qualities that I like in those guys, people might not agree.
Yeah.
But those guys, man, those guys are definitely the face of the league.
They're the face of the league.
The National Football League right now.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Michael Vick, let me tell you something, brother. You're a stand-up brother in every area of your life, man. I'm so glad we connected over the last few days. Let's get on this boat. Let's go fishing. And
Yellowtails on deck, baby. I'll call you next week. We out there.
Thank you so much, brother. You were a blessing, man. You are amazing, brother. You are a freaking legend. And I can't wait till that Hall of Fame ballot come up for Michael Vick, man. When is that year coming up?
Man, that'll probably be like in 2035 or 2040 or something.
Whatever. Are you freaking kidding me? Really?
They ain't showing me no love on that.
Vick,
You know, it's all good though, Ray. It's all good. You
ain't got to show you no love. Brotherhood control that.
They wrote Ray, the fact that you consider me, like, let me tell this story before we get off. Like,
please.
Like I hear people talking and saying like this guy better than this guy, he's better than him, and he whatever. When Ray Lewis tell me personally how he feel about me because we played against one another and you watched a lot of film on me.
Yeah.
And you watched a lot of film on other players and other quarterbacks. You faced the greatest. You and Peyton and you and Tom had the greatest chess matches ever. For you to say the things that you said about me, you know, whether privately or publicly about my career, it means the world to me. Because it's always been reciprocated because we ain't telling no lies. And when you tell me how you feel about me, nobody can take away what I've accomplished or what I did or who I'm better than or might not be better than in this day and age or even in the past. It came from the great Ray Lewis, the greatest linebacker to ever play the game. And that's credibility all over the place. So, man, look, I'm going to tell you this, too, before I get off. I might have been afraid of you on the football field, but I ain't afraid to sit down and have a conversation with you, baby. So hit me anytime, man. Bring me back.
I love it. Don't worry. Remember, me and you got some work to do. We got a few things we working on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So we gonna make it happen. But I love you to death, bro. And look, let me say what you're talking about, because I said this. Somebody gonna have to show me somebody better than Michael Vick. I'm just telling you from what I see. I know what I witnessed. I know what I seen. It's a lot of people. My guy will tell you, I don't go into games fearing nobody. I don't go in the game worried about nobody. I don't worry about nobody, Vick. But when I got ready to see Michael Vick tip, I was like, man, this is a long day. I mean, the linebackers can't catch him. The DBs can't catch him. Like nobody can catch you. So the bottom line is, brother, you did what you were supposed to do, man. And I'm telling you, you played the game from a Hall of Fame level, my brother. And I want you to always know that. Forget what all these other people talking about. I'm talking about real facts. Michael Vick is one of the greatest quarterbacks, greatest athletes, football players, men that I've ever played, saw, and witnessed in my entire life, brother. Remember that. Love for life.
I'm glad we was able to share that snapshot of our careers together, man. It was amazing, bro. Thank you.
This is just the beginning. We're just the beginning. I promise.
Absolutely.
I love you, brother. Be good, all right?
Absolutely, man. Be good. Thanks for having me.
All right.
All right, baby.
You know what makes, like, seriously, having these conversations so real, and I'm gonna jump into the championship mentality really quick, but I just want to check in right quick, because when you see someone and you really don't know the full story, only thing you can deal with is their glory. But you must understand the story. Everyone has a story, and the story is a process. And I want to encourage someone that there's a decision that's around you. Michael Vick did something when he had a decision that was around him. He raised his hand. Back in school, that if you knew the answer, you would raise your hand. And I'm asking you, someone is in some decisions, indecisiveness about what I should do or should I be the one? Raise your hand. Step up to the mic, because you never know where it's going to end. I can't wait no longer. I got to bring my guy on so we can kind of jump into this thing really quick. Championship mentality. Coach, I know you've been dialed in to listening to the great Michael Vick. Me and you have sat there watching film of Michael Vick. Wow.
Hey, I'll tell you what, man, I'm from Georgia, so I grew up an Atlanta Falcons fan my whole life. And so, man, I'm still looking for a Super Bowl. Man, this is still ain't got a Super Bowl, but man, it's interesting listening to the great Mike Vick, man, and he talked about that preseason game. What a lot of people really may not understand, it was just preseason, but they don't know you were studying that film like it was a real game. I'm like, wait a minute, Lou, you might just play a series, 2 series. And Vick told that story, man, but I know he don't even know that you was hoping y'all play a half. You really wanted to play against him. And this man studied film like it was a regular season game on Michael Vick, man. So shout out to Vick, man, and the perseverance and the persistence that he talked about.
Yeah.
And that's highlighting today on championship mentality on your journey, whatever that route is. You got to be persistent. You got to have perseverance. But the question is, in practical terms, what is persistence? And it's basically a consistent insistence. All right? You have to have what you're going after. A consistent insistence that you have what you're going after. You don't stop. You don't quit. You refuse to give up. And that's the way you got to be with your vision that God has given you, whatever it is that you're going after. You got to remain consistent. And everybody know or experience somebody that's been persistent, because sometimes they can be irritable. It could be when you was little. It could be that girl you liked, and you still gonna call. You gonna call. She said no, but you still gonna call. That type of persistence that you have to have when it comes to your self-development and your championship mentality. So grab a hold of this principle, man. You're gonna need it, but again, you're gonna have to be careful because you're gonna take some L's. Yeah. All right. Some doors are gonna be closed. Michael Vick talked about having patience along the way. So you can have the perseverance and you can have the persistence, but you just got to have patience as well. And remember, what you were born to do, it will not be given to you. You got to seek after it. You got to be persistent and you got to persevere.
Persistence confirms that your original intentions were real. See, that's when you don't have a choice. See, when your mind is made up. I wasn't the biggest, I wasn't the fastest, I wasn't the strongest, but I figured I had a genius idea at a very young age. It's simple. Leave nothing in the tank. Fall down and get back up. Listen to me, bro. When you never give up and you never give in, let me tell you something. Failure, thankfully, persistence is a great substitute for talent, right? Because I done been around a lot of people who was way more talented than me, but I was persistent in my pursuit on what greatness looks like. And see, a lot of times people think, oh man, you're at the top of the food chain. No. Thankfully, persistence is a great substitute. Thankfully, you know why? Listen to this. Your persistence is the measure of your faith you have in yourself.
I was getting ready to say, man, you got to have a powerful reason behind you.
Powerful reason.
Because you can have ambition and you like, I want this, I want that, I want this, I want that, and I'm going after it. And if it's not authentic, you're going to quit.
You're going to quit.
Get tired.
You're going to quit.
Yeah, it's going to get, your vision going to get tested for authenticity. And so it has to be a powerful reason behind it. When you wanted to play football and you didn't have them $10 to join the team, and you asked your mama for them $10 and she didn't have the money, and all you had to do was cut grass, you believed you was persistent. You didn't say, oh, we ain't got the money, I ain't gonna play, I ain't gonna be able to get on the team. You were persistent, man. And on this journey, you gotta have that as one of your principles for the championship mentality.
If you don't have persistence, I had so much persistence when it came to me not being able to play football, T. I went out there and I sat there and watched practice every day. I got in a homeboy car and I used to carry his pads. I used to carry his helmet and shoulder pads with me just to want to feel to be a part of a team. And I never forget the day the coach looked at me and said, why ain't you playing? And I said, Coach, I don't got no money for that. He said, you want to play? I said, Coach, I play football every day. Let me tell you something. You can't be the person that never gives up. You can't be the person that never gives up. You may win the first race. You may win the second race. You may win the third one. But boy, when it counts, that's why we train for the fourth quarter. That's why everything we did in the weight room was for the fourth quarter.
Yeah, that's why you was able to dance pre-game. Man, when I was training, we was breaking that stuff down. Wait a minute, the average play 4 seconds. Wait a minute, you get like 40-second break in between each play. Wow, this is easy because our training was constant. So by the time you got to the game, that was a piece of cake. They're like, why are you wasting all that energy on pregame? And I was saying, look, man, in 17 years, you may not never see a middle linebacker that never come off the field on third downs. And that's because
all 3 downs.
Yeah. For 17 years. Yeah. Every offseason. Oh, they say I'm a step slower. Okay, let's work on speed. You know what, Mont? I felt kind of heavy this year. Let me lose about 15, 20 pounds. Every offseason, we came back and analyzed, did a self-assessment. And whatever area we need to prove on, we were persistent and we created the plan and we executed. So for our team that's out there, the team No Excuses, I know we talked about courage last week. And remember, we said, without fear, courage has no power. So in order to build up your perseverance, remember, resistance builds perseverance. Okay? Resistance builds perseverance. So again, you're gonna have a lot of locked doors in front of you. And it won't come easy for you. Even if it's simple, the opportunity may not come easy. So keep fighting, man. And I'm gonna leave y'all with this tip today. Make sure when you got this persistence and this perseverance that your vision is from God. Okay, because a lot of times we get goals and visions.
The wrong visions.
Kind of intertwined, and they totally different. If I got a nice car and I want a bigger car, that's not a vision, that's a goal. It's like ambition. Ambition is not bad. You need it. But if I got a nice house, my family is fine, my bills are paid, and all of a sudden I want a bigger house, and I'm like, oh, I got a vision for a new house, that's a goal. A vision comes from God. It's your purpose. You get a glimpse of your purpose with a vision. Okay? So when you got a vision and you doing something, it helps other people. It shows love to other people. It brings up the destitute people. It uplifts the downtrodden. It brings people out of depression. It brings people into love. It's other-centered, not self. So goals can be self-centered. A vision is other-centered. And so when you're going out this championship mentality and you got this vision from God, because you're going to get tired, it's no better feeling than to ask the one that gave you the vision for renewed strength. So make sure you're not just chasing stuff, using that ambition, and you're chasing a goal. And ain't nothing wrong with a goal. Nothing. But if you got a vision that's for the long haul for your life, you're going to need to take God with you with this one too.
Yeah, the good book says write the vision, right? We keep saying that every week. It keep coming back. It keep coming back. And I'm gonna end it up because where you going right now, you cooking, boy, you on fire right now. Because failure is simply a price we pay to succeed. Listen to me carefully. In my life, T, you know this because you've been with me over 20 plus years. I've failed more than I succeeded. I missed more tackles than I made. But you will never know because of my persistence. I used to raise my hand in class and at practice knowing my answer was wrong. But I only raised my hand until I got the right answer. See, I'm gonna tell you something about faith. I'm gonna tell you something about failure. Failure, that price of failure is the greatest lesson that you will ever learn. That's why your relationship with God has to be a one-on-one thing. See, mama can't ask God to save you. Mama can't ask God to come into your own heart. Let me tell you something, and I'm gonna end with this. When you say take God with you, if you think about Romans 5:3-4, it says more than that. We rejoice in our sufferings, knowing that suffering produces courage, and endurance produces character, and character produces hope. Give me a little hope, and I will take on any Goliath.
Wow. You become You become in championship mode, man, when you take pain and failure and you use it as your friend. It's like going in the weight room. You don't go in the weight room just to lift the weight that you can lift. You don't grow there. You go into the weight room to fail, to break those muscles down so that they can grow back stronger. So when you're taking this ride, just keep that persistence, man, persevere, and take God with you so you can make sure that you're grinding on the thing that you were born to do.
See, and that's why I gotta end it by simply following your lead. Choose to never look back to complain, only for remembrance of where your motivation comes from. That's the only reason I go backwards, to remember where my motivation came from. Look, I'm around this thing up, man, because me and this dude right here, we can be at this for days. But when you talk about persistence, you know, Michael Vick said something earlier, man. He said that you must have a little patience. You know, I remember Mama used to always be in the kitchen, man, and she used to always say, Mama, I'm hungry. She used to always say, patience is a virtue. And you never understand what that means until you actually start to live it, right? Patience is a virtue. Patience is a virtue. And then I text Mom yesterday. I was like, Mom, I'm doing this thing on persistence. And she sent me a book load of stuff. You know, that's Mama. When you ask Mama for one thing, Mama send you a book of stuff. And when I started breaking it down, I started to really understand. And then Vic just confirmed it. That persistence is one thing, but if you ain't got patience, because God says some of the things that you have to wait on may take a while. But if I promise them to you, then it will happen. My word never goes void. The takeaways that I want someone to understand today, we're talking about persistent. We're talking about how do you create a mentality, a championship mentality of persistence. This is not about religion. So don't ever get this twisted about religion. We're just simply saying, don't do it without God. Don't run this race without the King. And when you fail, you realize one thing. If you got breath enough to keep getting back up, you got opportunity after opportunity after opportunity after opportunity. And God says, well, one door closed, many others fly open. Take this opportunity today to grab this mentality around persistence. The championship mentality needs persistence because it's everybody. That's why you got to be careful what's distracting you. Because what's distracting you could be taking you away from being persistent because you're paying attention to everything else. I want to thank you guys for joining us this week. This week is a big week for me because lately I've been having to create this different mindset of persistence, of what does it mean to continually go, and don't even worry about the fall. And every time you fall, you actually applaud it because it gives you an opportunity to keep getting up. Thank you. Thank you for the Ray Lewis Show, No Excuses. Life is absolutely about no excuses. Thank you to my entire team. Thank Michael Vick and his openness. My goodness. Coach, cannot thank you enough, brother. Another one in the book. What does it mean to continue to go? I want you to think about that this week. Never slowing down. Just figure out a way to keep getting up. God bless you. Thank you for joining.